Hello all, this is Dr. Sekimuthu. We are discussing about broadcasting and streaming techniques. In this, we are revising or revisiting digital modulation techniques. In digital modulation technique, today we will see about IQ modulator.
Let's talk about IQ modulator now. In color television, the quadrature modulation or IQ modulation, quadrature modulation or IQ modulation has been used for a long time for the transmission of color information. With PAL or NTSC color subcarriers, PAL is I can say 720 cross 576. 720 is the width of video. 576 is the height of the video. That is PAL. NTSC is 720 cross 480. 486. It's a NTSC color standard. So NTSC color subcarriers, PAL and NTSC subcarriers, the chrominance information, that's about the color information, is contained in the face of the subcarrier. In the face of the subcarrier. And the color saturation or the color intensity will be stored in the amplitude of the subcarrier. So beautifully it has been clear, said. The chrominance information is contained in the face of the subcarrier. The color saturation or the color information, other kind of information, color intensity are stored in the amplitude of the subcarrier. The color subcarrier is superimposed on the luminance signal. It's a luminance signal, Y, luminance signal. The modulated color subcarrier is generated by means of an IQ modulator or quadrature modulator, where I stands for in phase and Q for quadrature phase. So look at figure number 6. It's an IQ modulator. An IQ modulator has got I path and a Q path. Correct? The I path incorporates a mixture which is driven with the 0 degree carrier phase. There is a mixer. The mixer in the Q path is driven by 90 degree carrier phase. This means that I stands for 0 degree and Q for 90 degree carrier phase. I and Q are now become orthogonal to each other, 90 degree, orthogonal. So in the vector diagram, the I axis coincides with the real axis and Q axis will coincide with the imaginary axis. Now let us come back to the PAL or NTSC modulators. These two modulators to incorporate an IQ modulator. For any digital modulation, a mapper, MAPPER, is connected ahead of the IQ modulator. The mapper is fed with the data stream, that is data that is to be transmitted. The output signals I of t and Q of t of the mapper are the modulation signals for the I and Q mixture. Look at I of t and Q of t are no longer data signals but signed voltages only. If I of t is 0, then I mixture produces no output signal. If Q of t is equal to 0, the Q mixture produces no signal. If I of t is at 1 volt, for example, I mixture will output a carrier signal with a constant amplitude and 0 degree carrier phase. If Q of t, on the other hand, is at 1 volt, the Q mixture will output a carrier signal with a constant amplitude but 90 degree carrier phase. See the figure number 10. See the figure number 10. The I and Q modulation products are combined in an adder. The product IQ modulate of T, IQ mod of T, it's an IQ modulated one, right? is therefore the sum of the output signals of the I mixer and a Q mixer. If the Q mixer supplies no output signal, IQ mod of T corresponds to the output signal of the I path. If the I mixer supplies no output signal, then IQ mod of T corresponds to output signal of Q path. So it's very simple, right? Otherwise, it is a sum. Since the output signals of the I and Q path are sine and cosine signals, sine and cosine signals of the same frequency or carrier frequency and differ only in amplitude. A sinusoidal output signal IQ mod of T of variable amplitude and phase is obtained. Variable amplitude and phase is obtained through the superposition of the sinusoidal I output signal and the cosinusoidal Q output signal. Sine of I, cosine of Q. Therefore, with the aid of control signals I of T and Q of T, we can vary the amplitude and phase of the IQ mod of T. With the IQ modulator, we can generate pure amplitude modulation, pure phase modulation, or combined amplitude and phase modulation. With the sinusoidal modulator, output signal can be controlled in amplitude and phase. So we'll derive an equation that applies to the amplitude and phase of IQ mod of T. That is, A is equal to square root of AI square plus AQ square. That is for amplitude. For phase phi is equal to tan inverse of AQ by AI, where AI is the amplitude of I path and AQ is the amplitude of Q path. From the data stream, from the incoming data stream, data of T, the mapper generates the two modulation signal I of T and Q of T. We'll see later that bit groups are combined to create certain patterns of I of T and Q of T. That is the modulation signals of I and Q path. Let us first look at the I path only in figure number 7. The Q path is driven with the Q of T is equal to 0. That is, it delivers no output signal, so does not contribute to IQ mod of T. We now apply alternatively plus 1 volt and minus 1 volt to the I path modulation input, so that I of T will become plus 1 volt or minus 1 volt. Looking at the output signal IQ mod of T, we see that the carrier, that is LO of T, is present and switched only in phase between 0 degree and 180 degree. 0 degree for plus 1 volt, minus 1 volt is represented as 180 degree. By varying the amplitude of I of T, we can vary the amplitude of IQ mod of T. For the vector diagram, this means that the vector changes between 0 degree and 180 degree and varies in length, but always remains on the I axis as long as only I of T is present and being varied. If you look at figure number 7, it is 0 degree or 180 degree only, but it will be present on only in I axis. This is a suitable point for discussing fundamentals relating to bandwidth conditions in the baseband and at RF. In the extreme case, the bandwidth of the data signal with an NRZ, non-return to zero code, one non-return. Look at figure number 8, NRZ code. Okay, look at figure number 8. So this is a non-zero, non-return to zero code at a data rate of 1 megabits per second. This can be cut or filtered to such an extent that 500 kilohertz bandwidth are just sufficient to ensure reliable decoding. With using much mathematics, this can be explained quite simply by the fact that 0, 1 alternations represent the highest frequency. That is, the period has a length of 2 bits. and is thus 2 microsecond in the case of a data rate of 1 megabits per second. The reciprocal of a 2 microsecond is then 500 kilohertz, right? And the minimum baseband bandwidth for transmitting an NRZ code is then F baseband NRZ of hertz is greater than or equal to half of data rate. If such a filtered NRZ code, you look at figure number 8 again, continue looking at it. If such a filter NRZ code is then supplied, for example, without a DC to a mixture, as in the I path of this IQ modulator, two sidebands having each bandwidth of the input baseband signal. Figure number 9. Look at figure number 9. Two sidebands having each the bandwidth of the input baseband signal are produced at RF. The minimum bandwidth required is at RF is thus if RF NRZ is greater than the data rate, right? In this type of modulation, the ratio between the data rate and the minimum bandwidth required at RF is 1:1. It is same, equal or more. This type of modulation is called binary shift keying or bi-shift keying, BPSK. With the BPSK, a data rate of 1 megabits per second requires a minimum bandwidth of 1 megahertz at RF level. The duration of one stable state of the carrier is called a symbol. And in BPSK, a symbol has exactly the same duration as 1 bit. The reciprocal of the symbol duration is called symbol rate. Symbol rate is 1 by symbol duration. With the data rate of 1 megabits per second with the BPSK. Looking at figure number 9. Okay, I'm telling you again. With a data rate of 1 megabits per second with BPSK, the symbol rate is 1 mega symbols per second. A minimum bandwidth required always corresponds to the symbol rate. That is 1 mega symbols per second requires a minimum bandwidth of 1 megahertz. Now let us assume that I of t is 0 and there is only a Q of t output signal. We now switch Q of t between 1 volt, plus 1 volt and minus 1 volt. So in this case, IQ mod of t corresponds to the output signal of the Q mixture. There is no contribution from the I path. Again, a sine signal is obtained for IQ mod of t, but with the phase 90 degree or 270 degree. By varying the amplitude of the Q of t, the amplitude of IQ mod of t can be varied. For the vector diagram, this means that the vector changes between 90 degree and 180 degree and varies in length along the Q axis, imaginary axis. Look at the figure number 10, right? Next, we want to vary both I of t and Q of t between plus 1 volt and minus 1 volt. In this case, the modulation, now you can refer figure number 11. In this case, the modulation products of the I path and the Q path are added up. So we can switch the carrier between 45 degree, 135 degree, 225 degree and 315 degree. This is referred to as quadrature phase shift keying. There are 4 parts, right? QPSK. Allowing any voltages for I of t and Q of t, any desired amplitude and phase can be generated for IQ mod of t. The data stream, that is data of t, is converted to the two modulation signals, I of t for the I path and Q of t for the Q path by means of a mapper, right? This is shown in figure number 13. This is shown in figure number 13. For QPSK modulation, you can refer QPSK modulation. The mapping table is a rule according to which the data stream, data of t, is converted to a modulation signal I of t and q of t. In the case of QPSK, two bits corresponding to bit 0 and bit 1 in the mapping table are combined to form a dbit. It's not bit, it's a dbit. Two bits. For dbit combination 1 0, for example, the mapper outputs a signal I of t is equal to -1 volt and q of t is equal to -1 volt according to the mapping table shown here. The bit combination 1 1 that yields I of t is equal to +1 volt and q of t is equal to -1 volt in this example. The allocation of bits to modulation signal defining how the bit stream is to be read and converted by the mapper is merely a matter of definition. It is important that the modulator and demodulator, that is the mapper and the demapper, use the same mapping rule. Look at figure number 13, figure number 12, okay, the previous number, figure number 12. Figure number 12 also shows that in this case, the data rate is halved after the mapper. The QPSK can transmit 2 bits per state. 2 bits each are combined to form a dbit that determines the state of the mapper output signals I of t and q of t. So we can say in this case I of t and q of t have half the data rate of data of t. I of t and q of t in turn modulate the carrier signal, and in the case of QPSK, switch it only in phase. There are 4 possible cancellations for IQ of t, IQ mod of t: 45 degree, 135 degree, 225 degree and 315 degree. The information is contained in the phase of the carrier. Now that we can switch the carrier phase a half the data rate relative to the input rate. The required channel bandwidth is reduced by a factor of 2. The time the carrier or the vector dwells on a specific phase, that is, a dwell time is equal to symbol duration. The time the carrier or the vector dwells on a specific phase is referred to as a symbols. Figure number 12 and 14. Figure number 12 and 14. The reciprocal of the symbol duration. The reciprocal of the symbol duration is a symbol rate, which you have seen already. The required bandwidth corresponds to the symbol rate. Right? The bandwidth is always related to the symbol rate. Compared with the simple bit transmission, the available bandwidth capacity is now boosted by the factor of 2. In practice, higher order modulation methods are used besides QPSK. Figure number 11, that figure number 11 shows 16 QAM produced by varying the amplitude and phase. The information is in the amplitude or magnitude and in the phase, in both the places, amplitude and phase. In the case of 16 QAM, that is 16 quadrature amplitude modulation, 16 QAM, 4 bits are combined in the mapper. One carrier cancellation can therefore carry 4 bits, and therefore 16 possible carrier cancellations. The data rate after the mapper or the symbol rate is a fourth of the input data rate. This means that the required channel bandwidth has been reduced by a factor of 4. In vector diagrams for IQ modulation, it is very common practice to represent only the end point of the vector. The vector diagram in which all possible vector cancellations are entered is referred to as a cancellation diagram. Look at figure number 13. The figure number 13 shows the constellation diagrams of real QPSK 16 QAM and 64 QAM signals, that is impaired by noise. The decision thresholds of the demapper are shown too. The number of bits transmitted per signal is a logarithm to the base of 2 of the constellation. You look at that 4 QAM is 2 bits per symbol. 16 QAM 4 bits per signal. 64 means 6 bits, 2 power 6. So 6 bits per signal. Look at figure number 14. Figure number 14 shows the original data stream data of D, the resulting constellations of the carrier vector, and the switch or the keyed carrier signal IQ mod of T in the time domain. Each switching status is referred to as a symbol. The duration of the switching status is called symbol duration. The reciprocal of the symbol duration is the symbol rate. Okay. So next we will see about the IQ demodulator.